What's going on, everyone? My name's Tenebris Infinite, and today I'm bringing you dudes a guide on the Resistance newsletters that have been added in the Landfall update here in Generation Zero. If this video helps you out in any way, shape, or form, please don't forget to leave a like. It goes a huge way in helping me help you, help me help other people. Now, let's get to these newsletters, my dudes. Now, for these collectibles, they're kind of scattered all over the place in Ostervik here, and in a similar fashion to previous Resistance collectibles, it's in a non-linear fashion. You collect these in a much more organic process of going to these locations and looking for the points of interest, and sometimes the points of non-interest. Now, because they're kind of just scattered about here throughout Ostervik, you might want to actually follow the map here as opposed to the guide, because I'm just going to go through them in like a numerical fashion as opposed to a most efficient fashion, but you might want to really focus your efforts into the core area of Ostervik there, because there are so many of the collectibles just in one spot. But anyway, that's kind of up to you guys. That's why I made these maps in the first place. So let's get on with the guide. So first things first, we're coming on down to Ostervik Gamlistan, just down near the Kirkholden church safe house there. You'll find this Resistance letter sitting inside a department store or a Verahuzet that is very noticeable because of two things. You've got the flipped over car and the kind of obstacles out front, as well as the glowing red window that really points this building out. You'll be able to find your first Resistance newsletter just right in front of the door, sitting in plain sight on the table here. Next up, still in Ostervik Gamlistan here, about a block and a half away around the corner, you'll find a Resistance house with this very noticeable blue greenhouse kind of set up outside of it, and you'll be able to find the newsletter sitting inside of that house just on the table. The progression and story that's going on here with the Resistance and the Iron Church and everything like that from these newsletters is absolutely incredible to see. Personally, as a fan of all of these plot threads in Generation Zero, I can say things are about to get very, very spicy. So next up, we're coming on over to Markbakken here to pick up our third newsletter. You can find this newsletter just behind the school. There's an arrow on the front of the school that kind of guides you around, but the whole environment is really well done, and that's just something from this update. Like, all the set pieces are so well done, my dudes. They're really, really good. If you guys get a chance, try to lure in some machines into this area. It's really fun to fight from. And another thing, man, like, these newspapers are so well done. They are incredibly detailed. You can read the text on them super, super clearly. Even though I don't speak Swedish, still, I gotta say, it's looking real nice, man. So for the next one, we're coming on down to Ostervikshamn to come into this white and brown building. You can tell it out because it's got the bags of fertilizer out front of it. And inside of the building, tacked up on the whiteboard, you'll be able to find the next newsletter from a bit of a kind of like town hall meeting here. There's some crazy stuff going on with the Resistance, and as well, through these newsletters, we had some returning characters too, which has me very hyped for potentially getting to see them in the game in the future. Next up, we're coming on over to Tornberget, to a pretty unassuming yellow house. On the second floor of this yellow house, you'll be able to find the Resistance newsletter just sitting in a lounging chair there. You'll be able to tell the house out because it's got a flickering light just up at the front, but outside of that, it's pretty unassuming. Next up, doubling back to Ostervikshamn here, we're going to be coming into a Kunsam for a pretty brutal scene, actually. I don't want to spoil it, it's so brutal, so you dudes can kind of just experience that one for yourselves when you get here. But you'll be able to find the newsletter just sitting on the table with a whole bunch of sketchy stuff on it on the right-hand side. As well, these newsletters also have like kind of multiple parts to them, and there's a part of this that is very interesting and pertains to the Apple murders potentially. I'm going to be having a separate video on all of that again on launch day. So we're coming over to Kirkparken here, just near Kirkhoden, the kind of church safe house that you have in Ostervik here. And sitting on a very unassuming wooden bench is the next Resistance newsletter. No shame if you pass by this one, it's very unassuming. But the nice thing about the Resistance newsletters, at least, was there was like marked locations to go to, so that made it a little bit easier than finding the Soviet dolls. Next up, we're coming off to Kirkhoden proper to go into the church safe house, just in the back in the kind of cluttered room with the new FM-Tel and FM-Tel box. You'll be able to find the newsletter just sitting on the wooden shelf there. I'm really vibing with this FM-Tel box, and I think it's going to be a huge game changer for assignments and make them actually a necessity here in the game, which is going to be so awesome to finally see. But next up, we're coming off to Haga to possibly one of my favorite collectible notes added in this game. I don't know, man. It's so hard to call between this note and the Matryoshka reports, but like, seriously, dude, the Iron Church, they're coming, man. Honestly, I cannot wait to start talking with you dudes about this Iron Church stuff. It's insane, man. It's gonna be so crazy for the upcoming future of Generation Zero, seriously. But you can find the newsletter just over by the fireplace inside the house. For the last letter here, we are coming on back to Mark Backen. Had to make the joke, but we're going to be doing the scaffolding climb just outside of the apartments. This is actually a set piece that goes all the way back to the Resistance update, just finally getting kind of completed and finalized here. And that's one of the most awesome things about the Landfall update. Not only did we get a revamp all the way off in the marshlands, but we also saw the southern portion, the like entirety of Ostervik, basically get finished up here, and it's really great to see. So there we go, my dudes. There are all of the newspaper clippings from the new Resistance collectibles that we can get over in the Southern Forest region. Man, it was so close to a good shot. Why'd you gotta do that? And there's 2 tanks with railguns, I just noticed. What the heck, dude? See if we can't get into a more safe position for this closing shot. So, my dudes, there's all of the collectibles. There's some insanely spicy lore in these ones, just like with the Matryoshka dolls. And we're going to be discussing all of it in extreme depth here on my channel. So definitely, my dudes, stay tuned for all of that coming in the very near future. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, peace.